Yes. The last point which we have discussed, that was humoral immune response, which includes what? Different types of agents which helps in protecting our body, and that agents are present in our blood. That agents mainly include what? Antibodies. Last में हमने ये पढ़ लिया था. Shubham, mute your mic if background noise is there. Otherwise, you can unmute yourself. Now our next heading will be something which is related to cell-mediated immunity. Already I have told you cell-mediated immunity includes the immunity which our body is receiving, which our body is having by the help of different type of cells which are part of WBC. जो अलग-अलग तरीके के WBC हैं जो हमें immunity provide कराते हैं, that all comes under cell-mediated immunity. Once again, I will show you some video clips for better understanding. I think on your screen this structure of antibody is present. Antibody present है आपके स्क्रीन पे. कोई हैंड रेस करो. Mic, everybody, I think everybody's mic is mute. Yes, okay. Now you can lower your hand if any doubt will be there. In that case, raise your hand. Already I have told you that this characteristic Y-shaped structure is the structure of antibody. Already this structure has been drawn on board also, which includes heavy chain. This blue color chain is heavy chain, and this purple color or pink color chain is called as light chain. These are the two sites where antigen is binding. These sites are called as antigen binding sites. These things have been already discussed.
Since antibodies are found in blood, it is called the humoral immune response. The word humoral refers to blood or any other body fluid. The cell-mediated immune response can be best understood with the example of an organ transplant.
Now this is our new heading, that is cell-mediated immunity. What example here it is taking? It is an example of organ transplantation. Organ transplantation पहले भी हमने डिस्कस किया है क्लास में कि अगर हमें किसी ऑर्गन का फेलियर है, मेनली किडनी फेलियर और लीवर फेलियर, इन दैट केस वी go through the process of organ transplantation. Cell mediated immunity का इससे एग्जांपल कोरिलेट करके यहाँ समझ रहे हैं. See it.
Plant. When organs like the eye, heart, kidney or liver fail, organ transplant is the only remedy. Thus begins the search for a suitable, healthy donor for transplantation. This is important because grafts or transplants cannot be made from just about any source, as the body will reject those grafts sooner or later. To find a perfect match, tissue matching and blood group matching are conducted before a transplant. This ability of the body to differentiate between self and non-self while rejecting grafts is the cell-mediated immune response.
What we have studied here, that ability of the body to differentiate between self and non-self. It means what? Suppose if any person, we can take the example of any person, and if his one kidney is not working, किसी एक का example लेते हैं जिसकी एक kidney काम नहीं कर रही है. In that case, what we will do? We will transplant the kidney of some another body in this particular person. ऐसा करेंगे हम. इसके बाद क्या होगा? जो एक किडनी थी ये तो हमारी बॉडी की ओरिजिनल थी, that will be called as self, and the kidney which we are getting transplanted from another body, in this case it will be called as non-self. ट्रांसप्लांट होने से पहले हम ये एश्योर हो लेते हैं कि हमारी किडनी और जो हमने बाहर से किडनी ली है, देयर शुड बी नो मिसमैचिंग. क्लियर? दिस प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ आवर बॉडी टू डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन सेल्फ एंड नॉन सेल्फ. वो किडनी भी किसी इंसान से ही ले रहे हैं, बट फिर भी हमारी बॉडी उसको किसकी तरह समझ रही है? आवर बॉडी इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट किडनी एज नॉन सेल्फ. ये प्रॉपर्टी हमें किससे मिलती है? सेल मेडिएटेड इम्यूनिटी से मिलती है, कि हम अपने बॉडी के अंदर जो चीज है या बॉडी के बाहर से कुछ लेते हैं तो हमारी बॉडी अंदर और बाहर वाले को डिफरेंशिएट कर सकती है या करने की कैपेसिटी रखती है. सी फर्दर.
It is an immune response that doesn't involve antibodies, but it involves the activation of macrophages
Second point here is important is कि in cell mediated immune response there will be no role of antibody. यहाँ antibody कोई काम नहीं करेगी. Name से ही ये clear है कि this immunity will be provided to our body by the help of different type of cells. The first cell is macrophages. Macrophages have been discussed how they are doing work. They are simply engulfing the foreign particles by the process of phagocytosis. ये सारे words discuss कर लिया है हमने.
Natural killer cells or NK, antigen-specific cytotoxic T lymphocytes, and the release of various cytokines that fight antigens. Patients who have had organ transplants have to take immune suppressants all their lives to inhibit their body's immune response.
Now see on board for 1 second. One word here has been used, that patients who has undergone the process of organ transplantation, जिनके अंदर भी organ transplantation का process हो चुका है, चाहे वो किसी भी organ का हो. In this case, that patients have to take a particular medicine or drug which is called as immunosuppressive agent. If you will go on the words, you will get the meaning of this. What is the role of this medicine? What will be the role? It is immunosuppressive agent. It means what? That this medicine will suppress the immune system. ये हमारे immune system को suppress करेगा, means deactivate करेगा. क्यों deactivate करेगा? Because the organ which we have taken from foreign agent, जिससे भी हमने कोई organ लिया है, उस organ को हमारी body नॉन सेल्फ की तरह ना बिहेव करे, नॉन सेल्फ के जैसा ना बिहेव करे, इसलिए हम किसका यूज करेंगे? इम्यूनोसप्रेसिव एजेंट का. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर हमारी बॉडी उसको नॉन सेल्फ समझने लगेगी तो इसके कुछ समय के बाद एक प्रोसेस शुरू हो जाता है जिसको हम बोलते हैं ग्राफ्ट रिजेक्शन. इट मींस व्हाट? कि द ऑर्गन्स व्हिच वी हैव ट्रांसप्लांटेड फ्रॉम एनी अदर पर्सन, आफ्टर सम टाइम our body starts to reject that organ which is called as graft rejection. तो अगर इम्यूनोसप्रेसिव एजेंट हमने नहीं लिया तो हमारी बॉडी उसे नॉन सेल्फ समझेगी. कुछ समय के बाद हमारे सेल्स या हमारे इम्यून सिस्टम के सेल्स उस पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गन को जो हमने बाहर से लिया है उसको डिस्ट्रॉय कर देंगे. तो टू प्रोटेक्ट इट वी आर यूजिंग व्हाट? इम्यूनोसप्रेसिव एजेंट. एनी डाउट एनीबॉडी? नाउ सी फर्दर.
Against the transplant. Then again,
now see the new concept, that is immunity is of two types, active and passive immunity. Active and passive immunity, already it has been discussed in the initial phase of the chapter. See what is here.
Based on whether the antibodies are produced inside or outside the body, immunity can be distinguished as active immunity or passive immunity. When the body is exposed to antigens such as living or dead microbes or other proteins, it produces antibodies in response.
Now see once again on board. I am using board as well as this projector for proper understanding. Here immunity is again divided in two parts. One is active and passive. Active immunity will include what? In this, antibodies will be produced in body itself. मतलब क्या? कि कोई एंटीजन हमारे बॉडी में एंटर कर रहा है तो हमारे बॉडी उसके खिलाफ, उस एंटीजन के खिलाफ हमारी बॉडी क्या बनाएगी? एंटीबॉडी बनाएगी. ऑलरेडी वी हैव स्टडीड दैट दिस एंटीबॉडीज आर प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय द हेल्प ऑफ व्हिच सेल? Lymphocytes. This we have studied, that B and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes, lymphocytes are of two types, B and T. B produces antibodies, whereas T cells help the B cells to produce antibody. This concept we have studied. So antibodies, the antibodies which will be produced inside our body, that will be the part of active immunity. And passive immunity means what? If we are taking रेडीमेड एंटीबॉडीज, अगर हमने बाहर से बनी हुई कोई एंटीबॉडी अपने बॉडी में ले रहे हैं तो दीज आर कॉल्ड एज रेडीमेड एंटीबॉडीज और इट एक्ट एज अ पार्ट ऑफ पैसिव इम्यूनिटी. लाइक we have seen that snake venom के बारे में हमने पढ़ा है कि सांप अगर हमें काटता है तो हम जो इंजेक्शन में लेते हैं वो ऐसा बोलते हैं हम कि हम जहर ही इंजेक्शन में लेते हैं, तो हम जहर नहीं लेते हैं. व्हाट वी डू, वी आर इंजेक्टिंग दैट स्नेक वेनम इनटू द बॉडी ऑफ हॉर्स. हम हॉर्स के बॉडी में स्नेक वेनम को इंजेक्ट करते हैं. हॉर्स की बॉडी उस स्नेक वेनम के अगेंस्ट क्या बना लेगी, एंटीबॉडी बना लेगी. वी विल टेक आउट दिस एंटीबॉडी एंड नाउ दिस एंटीबॉडी कैन बी सेल इन मार्केट. हमने बाहर से एंटीबॉडी हॉर्स की बॉडी से निकाला, उसको थोड़ा प्रोसेस किया, शीशे में पैक किया, और अगर किसी इंसान को स्नेक वेनम का स्नेक बाइट का केस होता है तो इन दैट केस वी आर इंजेक्टिंग दिस रेडीमेड एंटीबॉडी इन द बॉडी ऑफ दैट होस्ट. नाउ सी,
when the body is exposed to antigens such as living or dead microbes or other proteins, it produces antibodies in response. This type of immunity is called active immunity, which is slow and takes time to reach its full effective response. When microbes gain access to the body during a natural infection, active immunity is induced. Consequently, the underlying principle of any immunization plan is active immunity, where it is induced by deliberately injecting microbes into the body. On the other hand, passive immunity comes into play when ready-made antibodies are delivered directly into the body from external sources to protect it against foreign agents. The antibody that a fetus receives from its mother through the placenta during pregnancy is an example of passive immunity.
See here, one more interesting example of passive immunity is what? The antibodies which a child is receiving when that child is in the form of placenta. It means when it not placenta, it is in the form of fetus. जब एक बच्चा माँ के पेट के अंदर है, उसको जो एंटीबॉडीज मिल रही है, दैट इज ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ पैसिव इम्यूनिटी. हम इसे पैसिव इम्यूनिटी क्यों बोल रहे हैं? एनीबॉडी कैन टेल मी द आंसर? Anybody of you, why we are calling this as passive immunity? Yes, Shubham. Shubham, bolo. Unmute your mic. I send you. Anybody else? Why we are calling it as passive immunity, as a part of passive immunity? Except Shubham, इसका mic unmute नहीं हो रहा है. Anybody